Live once again, the Jimmy Doane Show for your viewing and infotainment.
That's right, you got it.
That's right, this show is live. If you're watching right now, it is 4 o'clock Eastern Time. This is the Jimmy Doane Facebook channel. We'll also post a copy up on YouTube and Twitter in video format with all the subjects time-stamped under Jimmy Doane, D-O-A-N-E. And you can find us in audio format lots of places around the web. Apple Podcasts, Luminary, Lisbon, SoundCloud, Spotify, lots of places. So check us out there. And today is the 6th day of Rocktober 2019. I am in the studio with the still living Jimmy Doane.
Yes, hard to believe.
Hard to believe. What's happening today?
Well, lots of news. I got some of it same old.
Oh yeah.
I did not check on the Bitcoin price, so we'll have to do that some other time. Just to keep you up to date on that.
Last time I checked, it was 82 or something.
Okay. But of course, what's happening as we did for our first 100 shows or so, it was Russia.
Yes.
And now it's wistleblower. And
it's anything. They're all in at this
anything.
point.
Well, I was reading a column by Ann Coulter. It was yesterday. She had it on Taki, T-A-K-I, and she wrote a column and she reviewed some of the attempts that everybody's been trying. You know, I had 100 FBI agents looking into all the corruption and everything for the Trump business. Couldn't find anything. And then they finally found out that, oh gosh, it was Hillary that did the dossier and the emails and all this other crap. And so they backtracked from that. Now it's the whistleblower thing. And this is the emoluments is coming up. And they have a second whistleblower. Now, the first guy, of course, it turned out had hearsay evidence, and they wanted to know, well, this wasn't enough, this is similar to being redacted because it was hearsay. Well, now apparently this new guy, being represented by the same attorney, by the way, has come forward and he has first-hand information.
Yeah, I gotta say, this time I think it's over for Trump.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. They got him now, boy, I'll tell you. Whew.
I was trying to get you on that one.
No, I'm sorry.
Beginning of the end. This time it's different.
This time it's different, right? That's right. So anyway, he says.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that the deal. This has to do with the Ukraine thing, and he has first-hand knowledge. Zaid is the Washington lawyer who's already representing the first whistleblower, and now he's got the second one. And he said and of course the deal was he pressured Ukraine to investigate Democrat rival Joe Biden, son of, and the new guy is also a CIA officer, apparently. We don't know.
Okay.
For sure. But they've decided, they've said that the whistleblower statute is absolutely going to apply to these guys because they're in the government.
Right.
And whereas, of course, if you do a whistleblower in private business, you could go to jail or something like that. I mean, you're supposed to be protected, but you get fired, whatever. There is no real protection in the private business. Anyway, Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the report showed that the Republican president has been engaged in a cover-up all along. And of course, you have to ask yourself what's the cover-up? Well, we don't know. But there's something's being covered up, and we're going to go find out what the cover-up is all about, and then we'll impeach him. And of course, one of the things that you have to look at in this, now that they got two, this makes two. This is the second guy, and the first-hand knowledge of this sort of thing.
This is just another layer.
I know.
And then of course you saw the other thing, which was what he said about China.
Yes, China. That was the other thing.
He invoked China to look for Biden, and of course he impliedly, in his mob lingo, threatened to withhold all trade from them,
right?
By saying, things could get bad, or something.
Well, what's interesting, of course, is that whichever Biden it was, I don't know if it was the same one that was over there dealing the $1.5 billion deal trade deal with China. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm wondering. I don't know for sure, but if you have a trade deal and suddenly you have tariffs, I wonder what that does to the trade deal. I don't know, but Well, I did see somebody else that said, it's only to be expected that a foreign country, China or the Ukraine or Lilliput, for all I know, would like to have a contact in the United States.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and why not offer a top-notch job to the vice president's son?
Right. I mean, if you're gonna and $50,000 a month is peanuts. If it's a that's you find that in your pillow.
No
in
problem.
In
the
your
vice
chair.
president's son? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, that's right.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
And so, yeah, look, this is all just wrangling over nuances of nothingness. As I was saying last time, if somebody has to explain why an act is impeachable, it's not impeachable.
Right.
So they try to reduce it to a cover up or something that you can put in a little tagline or a headline, clickbait, but they got nothing. They're still swinging. It doesn't mean they won't do it, because they can still, like you said, it's no legal standard for the impeachment part. No. But they're not anywhere near. The problem is that everybody in the news is conflating the legal standard. They're confusing the legal standard.
Right.
Which, as we explained last time again, was if you're literally pressuring somebody in a quid pro quo type of arrangement, which can be shown through the evidence and testimony and proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay, if you meet all those standards, then that might be impeachable. That might be a crime, but it's not. It's not a crime if it's just innuendo. It's not a crime when he goes on national TV and says maybe they should look into this. It's just not a crime. No court is ever going to convict him of that.
Imagine.
So,
were you trying to keep that a secret, or I don't think so. Not in a public thing. What's interesting, of course, is that, as you know, Ukraine has a new president, the comic.
Yeah.
And of course, the original prosecutor that was looking into this company, whatever this big company that what's his name was on the board of.
Yeah.
They stopped that.
Yeah.
But now the new guy has reopened it. So what's happened is Ukraine's prosecutor general said on Friday that his office would review the case of an energy company linked to Hunter Biden just a day after President Donald Trump called the country to investigate the Bidens. So that, what I'm saying is, this is one of the things that we're having here is that Barr, of course, is reopening some stuff here to find. And so now in the Ukraine, I mean, certainly if there's corruption in this huge monster company, the Ukrainian president might want to know about it. I mean, that's one of the reasons he was elected.
Of course, but of course the other flip side of the same coin is, we found corruption everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all over. The big pile of gold is in the Biden account. You know, I mean, from my perspective, there's no way the public is ever going to know whether the corruption was in the company or in the prosecutor. And of course, both sides are going to call the other one the corrupt one.
Right.
And look, this is past. This is things that happened in the past. At some point, you got to move on.
Okay.
The evidence gets stale, and it's over. The effect is over. You know, it's like the Obama birth certificate.
Yeah.
But even if they came out today and said, "All right, he's from Kenya," nobody would be like, "All right, we have to undo the presidency."
Yeah.
You know, all the appointments, undo, do over. No, they would you just write it off. That's a write-off. So.
Okay, well,
And I would say the whole Biden story should be a write-off.
Yeah.
2016 is definitely a write-off at this point. 2020, we'll see, but you can't get there from innuendo. So.
Okay, well, it is interesting, but of course, as you know, the first thing that has to happen is a vote by the House.
Right, well, that's what's happening.
Without that...
Well, that's how Trump is kind of sticking it to the Democrats right now.
Right, yeah, he's
saying
he's riling them all up, each one.
Well, he's saying he's not going to comply with any subpoenas because there is no official investigation yet.
Right.
And so making an official investigation...
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, and because then he can do subpoenas. Then there's reverse subpoenas.
Right, okay,
then it's like, okay, you kick the barn door open, and then now let's go to town. Also, you get everybody to sign off on it.
Yeah.
You get everybody on the House, in the House, notching their name next to what they did this summer.
And as we've talked about before, every single House member is up for re-election in about a year.
I know what you did last summer.
Well, I mean, I'm serious. What I'm saying is that you realize that there were however many new ones.
Yeah.
Some of the new guys are in there, one by the skin of their chin.
Well, sure.
And
House.
Right, it's that. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of seats that are in play different from
Speaking
the
of House seat, did you see AOC's comment, or is that one of your things on
I
there?
don't have that. What is it?
Well, just the most recent thing. She's either all in on the political side, or she's really kind of a dimwit. She came out and said, what was it today? She called Trump an anti-Semite.
Yeah. Oh,
because he attacked
what's his
Schiff and Nadler.
Yeah, who are not exactly Jews.
Well, I don't care if they are Jews. Look, he's got Jews in his family.
Yeah.
All right? So you're not an anti-Semite if you attack one Jew. Okay? No. That doesn't count.
That's a person.
That's right. and it's obviously for a different reason.
Right.
And so she said he attacked her because she's a person of color, not because she wants to reform the Green New Deal or whatever it is. In other words, she's inferring the worst interpretation of his character and putting it out there on Twitter to her millions of followers.
Right.
So either she believes it, which is ridiculous, or she's all in on the political side. I mean, she's young still, and everything.
Well, that's the thing. She's young, and of course, as Scott Adams said, Trump is trolling him this way, saying that she's the boss of Nancy Pelosi.
Right. Well, you also heard her say she's over the whole impeachment thing now. It's boring.
Oh, is that right?
Well, that was a headline.
Oh,
so
okay.
I didn't read the story, but yeah, she was going to move on.
Moving on, yeah.
Do other stuff.
Well, they call she has her minions, her other 3 people in her squad. Mm-hmm. It's a gang, and she's the head of it, and she's intimidating. Nancy has to bow to some extent to it. Apparently,
somebody's got to bow to somebody in the house.
But I mean, here, look at she's been there for 18 months or something, and she's
Look, I don't think she has that much power. I think they've given her some busy work on some lower committees to do.
Maybe not.
She's great for political stuff.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
I said it a long time ago. Bernie should have said, "Vice President, you're on the ticket." He should have offered this.
She can't.
Well, yeah, she can do vice, I think.
No, because then in order to be president, remember, you have to be 35.
Well, that might be to be elected president.
I bet you not. I mean, whatever. You could bet that would go to court.
Well, maybe so. What are they going to do? And
kill him.
Yeah. But speaking of Bernie, do you think he's out now?
Yeah, he's out. He's out.
Oh,
no, he's out of the hospital.
Oh, okay.
He's out of the hospital, and his wife said he's going to be on the 15th at the debate. Question: is he out of the running? Yes.
Really?
No, he's not going anywhere. They're all drying up.
Everybody's
drying up now.
Who just had a heart attack during the...
Yeah, I mean, that would be the thing, is the dozen of them are up on stage or something, and they ask him a question, he goes, I'm coming, Helen.
That's right. Elizabeth,
I'm coming down, Elizabeth.
That's right. Well, no, what would be funny is if he said, don't upset me.
Yeah, right.
I'm triggered by your voice. Okay, what I need you to do is just everybody else be quiet. I'm going to talk now.
Okay. So anyway, apparently they were saying that Biden's contributions have gone way down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, by a lot.
Well, look,
they said,
to the extent that they railed...
They said, well, we got another quarter coming and blah, blah, blah. So.
And look, he got as damaged in the whole Ukraine thing as Trump did.
Yeah.
So... whatever damage was done, it was done to him as well. And also, it came from their base, so I don't know.
Well, the thing about it is when you think of it,
Hillary.
Again, remember.
Hillary.
Yeah, Hillary, right. Well, we got to wait till the 16th of October.
Yeah, that's it.
The day after the debate when she says, well, okay.
If I have to.
If I have to. Okay.
Oh my God, I'm hoping this is
I'm telling you.
This is like, I feel like Jon Stewart when he was asking Trump to run, He was like, please run.
You're right.
Please run.
Yeah.
He got like 6 months of material out of it.
Yeah, he did. So anyway, the apparently the other people are dropping by the wayside to some extent. And of course, when you have a dozen of people up there, who the hell can tell the difference? I can't.
Well, when they get 3 minutes apiece, they got nothing.
That's right. So and so if I have to, Hillary, I'll have to stumble in there. But it is interesting when you think about, people are always talking about, as you know, when you are elected president, very often you got to think in terms of 2 terms.
Okay.
Which means that he'd be running for his Bernie would be running for his second term at age 83.
Well, but What do you mean he has to think in terms of two terms?
Everybody does.
Yeah, well...
Okay, not.
Yeah. Well, I said something about the term situation. It seems to me like, and this is just a total guess, but I'm curious to see how, at the end of whatever Trump's terms happen, if he's still alive, whether or not they'll afford him the customary courtesy of past presidents and not go after him.
Oh yeah, good question. Yeah. Yeah, because then by that time, who cares?
Well, that's usually the way that it works out. Is
Yeah,
that
I mean,
he's
you're not president anymore. You can't do anything.
Cares.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it just seems like everybody's so over the top this time. I don't know. Maybe
They are. Well, that's true. Speaking of, let's see. I wanted to see if this coalesces. We're going to move on a little bit to the environment, a little bit
Okay.
with Gretta.
Ah, okay.
Gretta is the bookies in which I thought was kind of great. The bookies in England, because they bookie on everything over there. It's all
Well,
wide
now
open.
is this the dollar bookie bets? Because
I don't. It's one here. It's called Betmaker Ladbrokes is putting Greta at 4 to 6 above potential rivals, including the Pope and the UN Refugee Agency, for the Peace Prize,
right.
for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
They've got her, up.
I know, Saint Greta.
Well, wait a minute. And it gets better. The way I would look at it, when you realize that it's presented by the king in Stockholm, she could walk from her house practically over there to pick up her $1 million and
All
the
right.
prize. I mean, she's right there.
Yeah.
And so she could just, catch a cab or a Uber or something.
I think she's a front runner at this point.
Well, that's what this bookie guy says over there. So it says, it's just interesting. She a Swedish girl, 16, rose up to lead million-strong youth movement demanding action on global warming. She's got millions of followers and everything.
Yeah.
I say this Joan of Arc, burn her at the stake.
Burn her! Let's see if she's a real witch.
Yeah, see if she sinks. Let's see, like a piece of wood.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. If she floats.
If she floats,
That's right. If she's a real witch, she'll save herself from the fire.
That's exactly
She
right.
won't burn.
So,
Khaleesi will throw a dragon egg in there with her.
yeah.
So the interesting thing, the betting markets to me are a very underused tool. And from my perspective,
Yeah.
if they would really let them be authentic betting markets,
Yeah.
that is to say, no limit and really an open market
Right.
type of bet system, then I think they would be highly predictive. But these dollar markets that they keep trotting out are not.
They're not.
No.
Why?
They fail because the limit of your bet is $1.
Really?
For some reason, it eliminates the probability effect because the most successful people won't bet more or something. That's because they can't, because you still only get $1 or whatever it is.
No, but I mean, if 1 million people pony up $1 on one side, and 100,000 pony up $1 on the other side,
I realize, but it's not as predictive as if the winners continually vote for winning things and then use reinvest their winnings. Like the winners would be heavily weighted, and the reason I say that it's not predictive is because about a week before the last election, Hillary was at 95%.
Yeah, I remember that.
Donald was at 5%.
Right. No, it was. In fact, it wasn't a week before. It was 12 hours before.
Yeah.
Because they were doing it on the Young Turks.
Conservative.
The Young Turks were trolling the
right.
thing, and they were saying we have
95% chance.
Wait a minute.
85.
75. God, and they're panicking. So, God, you just have to see that if you ever want to. So anyway, speaking of Greta and her environmental type stuff here, there's been an outfit came out that says diseases like West Nile, EEE, and flesh-eating bacteria are flourishing due to climate change. Well, yeah, okay. And of course, an outbreak of a deadly rare brain disease has killed at least 11 people. 11 people.
That's right.
In the United States so far this year. 11, an outbreak Okay, run for the hills.
You can't even say that as a plural. Like, you can't say tens of people.
No.
You can't say it's like ones of people.
That's right, units of people.
It's
That's
whole
right.
units.
Scientists say the mosquito-borne illness, Eastern equine encephalitis (EEE), may be worse. Maybe worse.
12 people are predicted to die next year.
That's right, because unreasonably warm temperature, and it's just one of several diseases scientists worry about being affected by climate change.
A 9% increase. Right?
Yeah,
We're expecting.
So, yeah, right. And think about it. Next year,
24 people,
100% increase.
That's right.
We're really
it's
in
like
it now.
one room full of people who were sitting out next to the mosquito pond.
Yeah.
In Arkansas somewhere.
The nation's changing climate patterns are bringing heat waves, flooding, warming waters, and droughts. It reminds me of the Flash Gordon movie.
Yeah, that's it. Hurricanes. Volcano eruption. Well, look, and for the people who think we're being awfully smug and glib about the deaths due to climate change here, we are counterbalancing this knowledge, this information, with the knowledge that most of the deaths that are occurring today, on the flip side, outweigh these potential deaths. That is to say, there's millions of people dying right now from lung disease because they burn dung inside of their tent for heat or fuel. Yeah. And if we could get them natural gas or some other inexpensive electricity, we would save lots and lots and lots of people.
I always say that you want to save people, you fire up the DDT factories and let them have the little DDT containers to put on their walls.
Well, that's true as well. As I saw an estimate the other day that said maybe half of all people who've ever died from malaria.
Yeah, wouldn't be.
Therefore, the mosquito.
Yeah, the mosquitoes. That's right. So anyway, the insects that have in the woods can appear in new areas at different times. Okay, so what they're saying is that climate change, global warming, the mosquitoes or the organisms are migrating around with the blah blah blah. Well, so what else is new? I mean,
well, look, there are outfits out there, there are organizations who are creating clickbait to sell ads and such. I saw an ABC story, formerly prestigious ABC, the other day. Story came out and said, record temperatures 100 degrees in 100 cities or something.
Yeah.
And so the obvious implication is we're burning up right now.
We're burning up.
And
well, I saw a couple of them that said the highest temperature since 1905, and I'm going like, whoa, wait a minute. What happened in 1905?
Well, right, exactly.
Wait a minute, you mean we've seen this before?
Well, sure. If you look at the actual temperature graph, and I had it up here just a little bit ago, the hottest year by far ever, no matter what, is 1999.
Okay.
And so, you can see it. It's so clear. I don't have it anymore.
Okay.
But anyway, it's.
We'll worry about it later.
Yeah.
However, it.
And that's their measurements.
Right. Well, there are still things that are going to kill you and not kill you. We have a new red meat thing that came out.
Ah, yes, I saw. It's going to save us now.
Yes. Should you continue eating red meat? It's okay. It's okay. Right. Eggs were bad. Cholesterol were bad.
Right.
You know. Also, but now, guess what? Red meat's just fine. Should you stop eating red meat for health reasons? It says here. And of course, you got to worry that if the more red meat you eat, usually a lot of times it's from cows and stuff, which of course is methane into the atmosphere, grasslands all mowed down or whatever it is. So that's an alternate. The more red meat you eat, it's horrible on the back end also, or on the front end, I guess.
Back end.
Back end, yeah, right.
Well, yeah. Also, though, but no. If you think about it, if you eat that cow, you're getting rid of one. Right?
That's right. You're getting rid of one. And as I said, look, this is a secondary vegetarian as far as I'm concerned. They eat grass.
Right.
I'm eating processed grass.
There you
That's
go.
what it is. So that's the question rocking the nutrition and scientific community after guidelines published in a peer-reviewed journal, I didn't tell which one it was, that people should continue eating red meat, running counter to a lot of the scientific and health organizations have said for years. Now, what is interesting is that groups like the American Heart Association, World Cancer Research Fund recommend people reduce their red meat consumption. And, of course, the most famous one, the World Health Organization in 2015 even classified processed red meat, whatever that means, as a human carcinogen. So
Yeah.
that's really bad.
Well,
And said
like,
all red meat
Those things are, look.
is
Like the sentences you just read, when you read them, like you said, whatever that means. What is processed red meat? Like, what the hell does that mean? And what is a human carcinogen? At what level does something have to be carcinogenic, which they have no idea what's carcinogenic anyway?
Yeah.
What level of percentage of probability does it have to be to meet that?
I think when they talk about the processed meat, it means you're not actually slicing it off the cow and putting it in your mouth.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, I think it has to go through a butcher place.
Mixed with, non-kosher or something.
Yeah, whatever.
And-
So it's just interesting to
And
me.
when they say, so-and-so recommends that people reduce their intake of red meat, well, they don't know how much red meat I eat.
No.
So, I mean, clearly that's an average. Clearly it's some sort of...
Well, of course, the other thing is, do pigs count as red meat?
Well, and there you go. And so, and also, are they married to somebody in the chicken industry?
Yeah. Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. Because, well, again, eggs were poison for a long time, practically, for the cholesterol. Right now, not anymore.
Yeah.
So, sugar and everything else. Okay, moving on.
Okay.
We've talked before about the Libra,
Yes.
which is the Facebook's cryptocurrency that they're announcing. Now, we talked about it before. It's supposed to be all signed, sealed, delivered with MasterCard and Visa and some other people on board to help this thing and their basket of currencies and all that kind of stuff. And it's supposed to be on the 15th, interestingly enough, I think, in Switzerland. They're supposed to sign the documents.
This month?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Yeah. And so Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, and Stripe are unsure whether they wish to become paid-up participants on the...
it's worse than that. PayPal, and what I saw is PayPal and Apple are out.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You know why?
I know why. Why do you think it is?
Because they're scared to shit of the government.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly what it is.
That's exactly.
Like,
Somebody with a
fuck
gun
this,
is going to
man.
show up.
Exactly. Like, look, we make a lot of money with our little iPhones and shit, okay? We don't need, like, FBI busting into all of our stuff talking about y'all made a competing currency.
Yeah.
And
That's the thing. It's the competing currency.
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
This is we've been talking about this for a while, and Zuckerberg is obviously sort of head to head with Warren here. You saw that.
Yes, I did.
last week.
I saw that.
So
yeah,
can you
bring it
imagine-
on, bitch.
Well,
just about.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's got the billions and he's got the tech. So I mean, if anybody could go up against
If anybody could, that's
somebody
right.
like her, but.
They have the guns, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
guy-
You know,
and the NSA and the CIA and it's just
They got
come on,
everything.
man.
I mean, seriously,
Look,
they got.
no, I mean she can call him up and be like, "Look, I'm going to put a red dot on you right now."
Yeah, right. He wakes up and there's a little red dot
Exactly,
coming all over him.
exactly. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And Bernie, as crazy as all that sounds, that's the kind of stuff that Bernie would actually do. I mean, Bernie would go after, as we've said, the captains of industry. So
You know, it's just stunning when you think about that they would, nobody should be, and I think even Zuckerberg came out at one point and said, well, maybe nobody should be a billionaire.
well, I can understand a billionaire saying it,
Yeah, well, right.
right? Because you want to appear like,
Yeah.
I'm one of y'all.
Yeah. Well, it is
Nobody
kind of
should have this money, but this I do.
Two major billionaires, Buffett and what's his name, Microsoft, are giving it all away.
Well, there's the giving pledge, about
Yeah,
that.
right. I knew that.
And so Ted Turner and his buddies, and they're committed to give away half of their fortunes, I think, before they die or upon their death or something.
Anyway, the deal is so apparently you had to pony up $10 million, which is like pocket change, in order to become part of this cabal. So executives at the payment companies believe Facebook oversold the extent to which regulators were comfortable And so what they and you know damn well the regulators were probably taken aback by it. Said, well, that can't really be I don't even know what a cryptocurrency is.
Yeah,
the blockchain. I mean, you ask anybody seriously, go up to Congress, 535 people up there in Congress, and go down there and say, what's a blockchain?
That's right.
Nothing. You get nothing.
Yeah.
They don't have a clue.
Well, and what Facebook said? Well, we sent them a letter which said we're going to institute a blockchain cryptocurrency using these parameters and this crypto language and whatever. And they were like, huh?
Yeah, right, exactly. So anyway, the perception of the social network, what they're worried about is they're concerned about the perception that Facebook, the social network, hasn't behaved responsibly in other areas. So what they're doing is they're saying that because Facebook has kind of selectively mutes certain people.
Right.
This is irresponsible. So if you're gonna do that, we're not going to go in with you.
They were part of that data collection scandal as well at that one point where there was some group, some Canadian group or something was paying them for info.
Right. Yes.
And,
yes.
So
anyway, the Stripe says the latest issue comes prior to Facebook conducting a signing ceremony in Switzerland at the future headquarters of the Libra Association in Switzerland. The event could occur as soon as October 14th.
At the former future headquarters.
Yeah, the former future headquarters. That's right. So I just think, signing this agreement would cement everything that agreement is as a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But I just in August, meanwhile, COINTELGRAPH reported that other members considered quitting due to government pressure.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Yeah. I'll tell you, you don't want to compete with the government. I mean, education? No. Money? Whoa. You think about the stuff that you can do, but counterfeiting is something that you go away for.
Oh yeah.
And and if you want to withhold some of your money from the government on the IRS, they put your butt away.
And nobody is even remotely as powerful as they are at this point.
Again, they've got the guns.
Yeah. And they've got so much more than that. They've got the laws. They've got
those are enforcement guns.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they can just do. They just have unlimited power.
They do. Basically, what it is. So anyway, the other thing, though, the government has decided to do, is they're a little upset about, is here we go again. The U.S. government tells Facebook to kill its end-to-end encryption for the sake of the children. Wait a minute. This gets good. Uncle Sam calls on the tech giants to open up their platforms for government snooping. What they want to do is they want to have the back door.
Mm-hmm.
So that when they get a warrant, and then they give them the key to whatever the encryption line. Now, there are, as you well know, there's a lot of encryption that goes on the web, and it's pretty good. It's pretty powerful stuff. And I mean, that was the big deal about the iPhones and unlocking and all that kind of stuff. One of the things that people can do, and I was reading about this the other day, is more and more people are setting up what they call VPNs, which are virtual private network, and those are encrypted, and that means that you can go into Starbucks and sign on to your VPN, and that way it's all encrypted coming and going, and anybody in Starbucks can't break into what you're doing. And so I thought about that. One of the reasons I did, I've gotten all hot and bothered again about the Raspberry Pi, the little single SBC, the single board computer, and this one guy showed how to make your own private server VPN with a Raspberry Pi. It's pretty easy. So anyway, it's kind of interesting. Might do that. Anyway, the Justice Department Friday said that it dubbed the, quote, Lawful Access Summit, that's what they did, a morning-long presentation aimed at convincing people that police must be able to see all conversations on messaging platforms in order to protect the public, specifically children, from predators. Outside the digital world, outside of the digital world, nobody would accept the proposition that grown-ups should be permitted to mingle in closed rooms with children that they don't know in order to groom them for sexual exploitation.
Jesus.
So neither would they accept the idea that a person should be allowed to keep a hoard of sexual abuse material from the scrutiny of the justice system when all society's traditional procedures for protecting the person's privacy. The Fourth Amendment requires a warrant. So as far as what they're saying is this, look.
It's about the children and porn.
Right, that's right. children and porn, and the young children porn people, whatever. Point being that, look, we can get a warrant to come over to your house and look at stuff. So why shouldn't we just have to have a warrant to look at your encrypted stuff that you've done back and forth with your buddies?
Right. Well, there's always a push by law enforcement to just get backdoors and access and standing warrants and things like that. They're always constantly trying to expand their access. From my perspective, there's two elements to this. One is it's images. And images, adults we are expected to be able to handle images. It's part of the whole expression and ideas and thinking thing. You can't really think if you're prevented from images. So there's a certain amount of stuff. I mean, the web, it's none of their business, none of their beeswax, unless there's something happening.
Right.
And then the second part of it is when they start talking about children, you can never legislate based on children. You just can't.
Yes, you can.
Then you end up with Tommy's Law. Or
right, you have them all.
That's
right.
right.
I get my phone. It was an Amber Alert.
That's
get that.
right.
Everyone, Amber Alert.
Yeah.
Where is Amber these days?
Yeah, she's gone. So this is insanity, of course, to suggest to make any type of law based on the behavior of children immediately should signal to you that this is a
signal to me.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I mean, I picked that up right away, and I'm sitting there thinking, of course, it's about the children, and you know, and of course, there's no
children have no rights, and they need protection. So you can justify anything, literally anything, for a child. I locked the child in the room for their own protection.
That's right.
I sent them to bed without their dinner for
their own good.
That's right. So anything. So I beat them. So
yeah, for been there, done. I was on the receiving end of that.
There you go.
I can tell you when I was growing up. But it's interesting. Of course, you have to absolutely believe that the government always has your best interests at heart, and they would never abuse it. They would think, well, you know, it's exigent circumstances what they use a lot of times. You know, you see this on television all the time. I love it when they do this. They're going to go investigate somebody's house, and they're standing outside the apartment, and they don't have a warrant, but I think I heard a baby crying in there. I heard a baby. Exigent circumstances. And they bust in. Well, of course, that's their excuse or whatever, and you can bet the same thing would happen here. I mean, we don't. They would go to get, like they got the warrant for the FISA warrant. Mm-hmm. It's a pile of crap. See, we have absolute almost proof, suggestion that we need to bust into this guy's telecommunications or website or whatever it is and see his stuff. So
yeah,
but
the bottom line is that your Fourth Amendment protections are quite weak these days.
Yeah,
they have to be. It has to be an extremely well preserved Fourth Amendment right, and there can't be any exceptions to it. And
it is interesting because it is interesting because you especially see the abuse of that in automobile stops.
Yeah, well, automobiles were a long time ago. Unfortunately, way back in the Model T or Model A days, justice decided that nobody had any interest in privacy associated with their car, because it was like an open buggy at that point.
Right.
And so, but now, of course, people live in their cars.
Right.
So it's much more like a home. And there was a ruling recently which I thought sort of reversed that in part and sort of gave you a little bit more privacy inside of your car.
The problem is you got to know to invoke your right.
Right, which means you have to refuse the search.
Right.
And that's difficult for law-abiding people to do.
Right.
They don't want to.
They always want to say, "I'm not doing anything wrong." Wait,
right.
And they open up and just shut up is what you want to tell them.
That's right. Or you just ask, "Is it okay if I don't comply?" And they'll tell you.
Yeah. Am I being detained?
That's it.
Yeah, it is interesting because nowadays, as you know, if your windows are a little too dark, they can't see in there. So, for your own safety.
They can get you for anything these days, no seatbelt, whatever. But the driving wars are switching a bit.
Are they?
Yeah, well, because of the self-driving cars.
Okay.
And so there's going to be a big, huge reversal at some point, and
yeah, that'll be great, I guess. Yeah, once the once the cars become like Johnny Cab in the term. No, it was not the term.
Yeah, that was
in the
Mars one.
Mars thing. Yeah, whatever.
Total Recall.
Same good. Total Recall. Yeah, who's still Arnold. So yeah, but that's that'll be interesting. Like you say, then you're just riding around with my bag of MJ.
Yeah, and it won't matter because you're not even driving.
Right.
Go arrest Bill Gates.
Or whoever, yeah.
That's right.
Okay, I'm moving on.
Speaking of law enforcement, there was that, we could do a real quick update on that Texas policewoman.
Yes. Oh, well, not only that, wasn't one of the witnesses was assassinated?
Yeah, well, killed anyway. I didn't see the story about...
Somebody accosted him in the park, 2 or 3 people, and shot him like all full of holes. And he had been paranoid about that previously. But apparently, he got out of his car or something, and some people came, and they got away. Mm-hmm. Some people came up and blasted him and killed him right there in the park.
How was he a witness in the
He was the one down. He was down the hall, and he was called up to testify what he heard. Because apparently he was down the hall from the guy who got killed.
Right.
And so maybe 2 or 3 doors down. And so he testified as to what he heard, that something happened here, and then he heard the 4 or 5 shots ring out, and somehow that was...
He said he heard "don't shoot," or
something. Yeah,
hey,
right.
Hey,
yeah.
Or something.
So he did.
Yeah.
And
well, that's a little bit concerning.
Was Hillary involved in this?
Yeah, well, you hope, you sort of cross your fingers that it wasn't any type of retaliation or anything. I can't imagine that.
I can't imagine.
It's got to be just a coincidence that he...
Well, apparently, according to the story I read, he was a little paranoid for his own safety. I don't know why.
Right. But maybe a sketchy apartment place where they lived. If all the places are uniform on the outside, then it's obviously not super nice.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The couple of things that I wanted to point out this week. One, I got it was reported the sentence was 15 years the first time I said it. Was, I guess it was 10.
10, right.
But the interesting thing is there was a huge cadre of people, I don't know about huge, but there was a group of people, obviously black people, who were saying that this was a racial sentence, that it should have been a lot worse. She should have got 40 years or 50 years. Now this is the family.
Right.
And the family always comes out and says the murderer should be killed, buried, dismembered, whatever. And so you kind of expect that, but it was interesting because some people obviously pointed out that this is an example of a racial justice story. There's a white woman and she's getting 10 years, and she's a cop and she's getting 10 years. So all those theories that you have about people getting off or whatever, maybe not.
Well, didn't the guy's brother hug her or something like that?
Yeah.
And the judge even...
And also, look, it's one instance.
Yeah, right. It's
whatever,
one instance.
You can't draw...
We don't know. It was a jury trial. The jury had to deliberate on this.
Well, exactly. Now, the one interesting thing is they did find her guilty of actual murder as opposed to manslaughter.
Okay.
Which means that they didn't believe her story.
Right.
They basically thought that she went there to kill him, which is, that's rough. And so, from that standpoint, I could see a judge giving somebody more time, but I would bet, my guess is that the judge probably wasn't convinced of that.
Yeah.
The judge's judgment was probably that it was a mistake.
Yeah.
And so he probably gave her a normal sentence.
I think the judge was a her. No, maybe not. I don't know.
Who knows?
But the
10 years, that's certainly a long time.
Long enough time, yeah, that's for sure.
Even for murder, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, next item that I've got is NASA. The InSight mission is struggling on Mars. One of the things they did, let's see, November 2018. So this is about a year ago. This InSight, this InSight robot, whatever it is, landed on Mars, and it's one of its main missions. It was not going to roam around like some of the other ones that have been up there. It was static, and the idea was it was to dig a hole in Mars and find out about earthquakes and Marsquakes, excuse me, and stuff like that. And it's supposed to dig a sample.
Yeah, that was the one that got stuck after it dug down.
Still is stuck.
Oh, God.
It was supposed to go down 16 feet.
Right.
And it's down 16 inches.
Right.
And they still can't dislodge it. They're trying to figure out why, because they said maybe because they got all kinds of theories. They don't know why exactly this is. They're thinking maybe it's too slippery. Can't get a grip or something.
Some alien has hold of it.
That's right. Well, when you realize, here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
What a lot of people don't realize is that Mars is actually a giant spaceship covered with dirt and mountains and stuff. And if you drill down more than about a foot or two, you hit the steel shell.
Uh-huh.
And it's like the Death Star, only it's a Mars star, or whatever it is. and the people that are all inside living in there, are sitting there saying,
they're at the door.
They're at the door. They're coming through.
That's right.
That's it. So, and this thing is banging away on
Right.
Helen, do you hear something up back? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting. So they're trying, they're trying everything they can. It's like a 6 or 7 hour round trip or something for the signals.
Okay.
Depending on where it is. I mean, Mars sometimes on the other side of the sun and everything.
Yeah.
So it's quite a ways. I don't know if it's that long, but it's an hour or two anyway, round trip.
Okay.
And you have to figure out, you have to recode it, and of course the coding is like really slow. It's like sending really slow Morse code in order to get the however they do it. Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see. Let's.
Well, that's all right because Elon's about to send his ship up there, and he can just go get it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It is interesting to me when you say go get it. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize, and you see this all the time on the television shows when they talk about their space uniforms.
It's just right there. Oh, what? Yeah.
The space uniforms.
Uh-huh.
In order to be pressurized, you can't move. I mean, you really.
Yeah, it's a stiff.
It's really stiff.
You see him running.
I know that. Well, I know, but what I'm saying is not on the movies. On the movies, they get in their little space uniform, and they're trotting around. And they've tried everything in the world to.
Well, those are better spacesuits.
They're better, yeah, right. Well, I mean, even on Star Trek, I remember they were little flimsy things that they would go out and in no atmosphere.
Hey, those are Class M planets.
Yeah, that's right, Class M planets. That's right. Well, it is. I just think it's interesting when you think about running up there to do something that. And of course they're going to do they're going to have a female spacewalk here next time. They had to redo the whole uniform because she's small.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had to redo everything. They had to brand new one.
Just get her one from China or something.
I guess. Well, I don't know. Of course, there's another thing that they have to worry about is shall we say, there are things that one has to do from time to time as far as your waste products are concerned, and I don't know what you do. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of women, a woman was arrested and taken to court for going topless in her own home. Now, what happened wasn't quite that. She was in a garage with her husband, and they were doing some work. A really hot day, so they both stripped down, and basically, and apparently, some relatives came over, and there were some kids involved, and she was topless, but she had pants on or something and everything like that. And then when one of the relatives heard about this, they reported it. And so it says the charges are serious. 3 counts of lewdness involving a child, which is a Class A misdemeanor, and can not only land her in jail but also place her on a sex offender for 10 years. Now, wait a minute. And of course, what the Utah state law governing lewdness involving a child says that no woman should expose her breast below the whatever, either in public or in a private place under circumstances that the person should know and likely cause affront or alarm, or with the intent to arouse or gratify the sexual desires of the actor or the child. So here you've got a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old, and the 8-year-old is saying, I mean, she's going to jail.
Yeah, even worse than that, the 8-year-old doesn't respond, and they just look at her and say, "Well, you were aroused.
Yeah,
you wanted the 8-year-old to see you that way, and you did it for that reason. We mind meld with you."
Yeah, we mind well. So anyway, it's interesting because the attorney for her, Tilly is her name. he challenges the law because he said he called it sexist. It makes it pretty clear because Tilly she's a woman, and only because she's a woman is this law working this way. Yeah, well,
I defended somebody who basically was in his own trailer, and they basically contended that he knew the window was open.
okay, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, and how'd you do?
not well.
Not well. The Buchanan, and of course, what the attorney is saying is says she's being singled out for prosecution only on the basis of sex, which, of course, isn't that some kind of a protected something or another?
Well, yeah, but that's BS. I mean, that's if it was a man, they would have done the same thing.
Well, his chest was exposed.
Well, yeah, they can try that argument.
That's what they're doing. Sauce for the goose.
Yeah, might as well.
I guess.
I know it when I see it. It's the standard.
Yeah, I guess.
So if you're in New Orleans during Mardi Gras,
yeah, right, exactly.
No problem.
Good luck on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, this is Utah, so
Ooh.
yeah. See, that's
Ooh.
yeah. Ooh,
yeah,
This is
Utah, man, they're
yeah.
strict. They have like the death penalty for porn out there.
Do they?
Yeah,
I don't know, but it tends to be a little.
It's hideous.
Yeah, that is. I mean, it's.
They're a little Mormon-y or something.
Well, I tell you, the Mormons that I've met out there are fabulous people.
Oh, there's no
They're
question.
the best on the planet.
Oh, they're awesome.
They're going to be the
But
savior
I'm
of the
just saying,
race.
In terms of their pornography, they're a little strict.
Yeah. Well, I think it was interesting because I was listening to Lewis Black the other day, and he said, I think there's a town in Nevada called Wendover.
Okay.
It's on the border of Utah.
Oh yeah.
It's on the border. Literally, it's on the border.
Right.
And he said it has like 8 casinos.
Right, right.
I mean the whole
Six sex shops,
and like four
a
and
7-Eleven.
like four trailer parks.
That's
and
right.
everything like
3 hotels.
And all the time the covered wagons are coming over there from the people coming from.
And it's a half circle shaped town.
I just think that's funny. Okay. All right, the last thing I've got, and we're getting here, Troy, I hope you have some stuff. This I thought was, once again, I'm from the government, I'm here to help.
Uh-huh.
As rural groceries fade away, lawmakers wonder whether they should act. What's happening is some states are trying to tackle their rural grocery gaps. We have a grocery gap. Supporters of such efforts point to tax incentives and subsidies at various levels in order to try and keep the grocery stores in the smaller towns.
Okay.
There's some towns there that one of the problems is the new little dollar stores are popping
Yeah.
up. And they
Oh, I see. Okay.
and the problem with dollar stores is they don't get the rigid inspection.
Well, also they have a bunch of boxed and canned food.
Right.
Versus fresh.
And
food.
fresh, exactly right. And they're all panicky about the fresh. That's exactly right. So the critics, of course, see this development as a threat to public health, since the dollar stores typically lack quality meat and fresh produce.
Right.
But every store in town is different, and some legislators say they're reluctant because maybe we have too heavy a hand into this. But some others in North Dakota, the legislative
Will
panel,
not be deterred.
yeah, they'll not be deterred. That's right. But I just think that's one of the things that they talk about here. A legislative panel is studying rural food distribution and transportation amid a steep decline in the number of groceries serving rural areas. The committee is considering whether there are public policies that could work, and they hope to help the consumers with their stuff. And there's some towns that literally are like 1,000 people, and they did have a grocery store. Now, one lady was complaining, well, in order to go to a Publix or whatever they have out wherever this is, she says it's 40 miles away. And yeah, okay, well, I understand that, but it's interesting because what happens is as a town dries up, they dry up. I mean, they're called ghost towns for a reason.
Well, or something else comes in to replace them.
Right.
If there's a need there.
If there's a need, that's right. But what I thought was interesting, that the operative word here was that these legislative people wanted to help.
Right. Well, absolutely. Of course they do. But this is just another example of jumping in just at the wrong time.
Just at the wrong time.
If they would just let the market fix it. Because, of course, look, the more these dollar stores pop up, and they have doubled and tripled, they've multiplied like rabbits.
Yeah.
And I used to be a prime shopper at the dollar store for things like dog food and And like the stuff that you could get in the boxes, like cereal and other, that you were going to get in the box no matter what, was the dollar store was perfect for, and it was even cheaper than Publix a lot of the time.
Well, it was interesting you should mention that, because they were a lot not only cheaper, but they were a lot more convenient, almost like the 7-Eleven
Right,
stores.
exactly. You
It's like the
get in, get
7-Eleven,
out, no
because
problem.
up here,
as long as your person was freaking remotely competent.
right?
Which,
Well, what's interesting is here when we had Walmart up here before it moved out, there were $2 stores there. I forget what of them was
Family Dollar and Dollar Tree.
Save a Lot or something like that. But
Right
I mean,
next to
right next to it.
Yeah.
That's right, right next to it.
yeah, and that makes perfect sense. If you want a hair clip, you don't want to have to walk through all of Walmart.
God, isn't that the truth? And not only that, even if you know where it is,
Right. It's a mile away.
You're taking a hike.
And then also, and then you have to fight through a line with somebody with 400 pieces of whatever in their cart.
Yeah, well, not only 400 pieces, but can you tell me what?
There's a million reasons why you go to the small store.
Yeah.
But what I would do, of course, is go to that store for the boxy stuff, and then I would go to the little fresh market for the produce. And so it creates a demand for things like fresh market. And
Well, it does that, but not only that, when you think about it, on these rural places, I got news, you can raise a lot of your own stuff. It doesn't take much. I'm serious. I was looking on the interweb here the other day, and they're selling now, PVC pipes where you do your hydroponics. I mean, you can get a lot of veggies out of your.
it's probably because of the marijuana industry or something.
Well, maybe.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but I can tell you that a lot of that stuff, and whatever it is, that's a growing industry is what I'm saying. I see it all the time now,
Right.
where you can grow almost all your herbs and spices and everything.
Oh yeah, I got a friend who grows half of the stuff she uses to cook in her kitchen. In
My
jars of water.
brother-in-law and sister-in-law do. They grow their lettuce and everything, and they go out there and clip it off and wash it and eat it.
There you go.
So what I'm saying is, when you if you've got land, I mean, by definition, a rural place is rural because it's not overpopulated, and you can have a garden.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about them eating unhealthy food.
I'm not either. And of course, what happens is, and another thing we have is, depending on how things go, you do have farmers markets.
Right.
And you can get here in Gainesville, we've got like 4 farmers markets, but the major one is Saturday morning, and you can stock up on a week's stuff if you need, or fresh stuff.
Now, the one thing I will suggest these politicians that they can do is they
Go
can,
home.
well, in a way, they can remove the restrictions on things like farmers markets and things like fruit stands.
Right.
And they can remove licensing requirements for grocery stores, and they can basically allow and remove subsidies or tax incentives for the big box, for the dollar stores, or for whatever, for everybody, and let everybody compete on a level playing field, basically. And so there may be incentives which crowd out. There's probably a reason why they probably can't have a farmer's market.
That's right. No, I wouldn't doubt it. And that's one of the things that governments do, is they crowd out.
Right.
Because they provide an incentive to make something so cheap that you can't compete with it.
Yeah.
So you crowd out
the other stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'm done.
okay. Well, let's see.
See what you got there.
We're close. I think we did most of my things, but let's see. I think I got. Oh, I know. I have one thing.
Okay.
In here. Well. The big thing, from my perspective, this week is Hong Kong.
Yes, that's right.
So, the mask.
The mask
ban.
Now today, I think, is a big day for Hong Kong.
Well, the first was the big day. The first was the anniversary, the 60th anniversary of the regime, which some people would argue has killed more people than Hitler and Mao.
Right. Yeah.
So Hitler and Stalin. It's interesting to see. I still unfortunately think that we're headed towards, or that they are headed towards, a bad ending over there.
Oh yeah, right.
Because I don't see the Chinese. They're not giving up anything. They've doubled their troops. And
the thing is, we talked before about our government's guns. Mm-hmm. Nothing compared to those guys, and they're serious.
Willing to use it. They don't have to get anybody elected. So you can just mow people down and there's still no opposition that you have to face.
Well, it is kind of interesting. And I've been surprised so far at, quote, the restraint
Yeah, well, I have a little bit, but I think what they're doing is, I think they're playing a little bit of a game.
Okay. Oh,
And
you think?
Yeah, and the concept is, if they can get the protesters to do a couple of acts of domestic terrorism, then they can qualify them as terrorists and then go in and root them out. And,
of course,
and
yeah.
have a little.
They're gonna phony up some false flag, and it'll be all just.
They won't even have to. All
No,
they
they won't
do is
have.
push them a little bit further. They've already shot one guy. They've got some people. They've got things like makeshift trebuchets and Molotov cocktails.
Is that right?
Yeah, and they're they're violating the mask ban.
Yes, I saw pictures, and you know, there was one guy that was just wearing a paper bag with, like you do. Another guy was wearing the
Guy Fawkes.
The Guy Fawkes, yeah, had the Guy Fawkes. They had those. That's where they make them.
Yeah.
So you know, and then there was somebody else that was just like all Antifa up, you know, with the mask and everything like that.
Well,
but I mean, it was all makeshift. You know?
Yeah, and that's all fine. But the problem is that they're going to be outnumbered ridiculously.
Yeah.
50-1. This is not like all of China revolting. This is like one state in the United States, and they're going to get crushed.
Yeah.
Before it's all over. So
we wait and see.
yes, we do.
Oh, which reminds me, well, we're just right here at the end.
Okay.
Gators won yesterday.
Yes.
So we're doing well. We just got to win the next 2 games.
Yes, and well, if we do that, we'll be really good.
Yeah.
And also, did you notice? Sort of one final thing here. Don Jr. and
Yes.
what's her name? Somebody maybe coming.
Guilfoyle.
Okay.
Yeah. What's her name? Guilfoyle. Yeah. They're coming down here to speak.
Well, maybe we'll see.
Maybe.
Well, there's an outcry at this point.
They're being paid $50,000.
Right. Well, that's like a normal accent payment fee.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting. I get the feeling we're going to see a Spencer repeat.
God,
Whatever that guy's name was.
Well, I was reading the paper today in the Gainesville Sun, and they said, please don't do that.
Oh God, I hope. Yeah, exactly. I'm with. Really, the paper said please don't do that.
Yes.
Well, thank God, because that was just ridiculous last time.
Oh my God.
The college students acted like 5-year-olds.
Oh.
They went over there
wish.
and screamed like 5-year-olds. Like literally, like it was just like, what are you guys doing? You can't withstand a freaking conversation? What was that guy's name? Richard Spencer?
Yeah, I think it was.
But
Well, they managed to shout him down.
Sort of.
Well, pretty much. I watched it. He finally gave up. Because what happened was some of the people that were admitted were the protesters.
Yeah.
And they just started screaming, and and that's what they do. They go this, and no, shame, and they just, they get this thing going like it's worse than the football team.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Kevin McLeod, for bringing us this music. It's awesome music. And this has been the Jimmy Doane Show. We'll be back at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, October the 9th, right? Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9, yeah.
So join us at that time. I'm Counselor Curtis.
Jimmy Doane.
The Jimmy Doane Show. So see you soon. Hey, thanks, Kenny. Good to see you, boss.